Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Random Entertainment Nation's Death Streak podcast. My name is Austin Smith. If you'd like, please follow us at @randomenation on Twitter. And if you end up enjoying this podcast, you can throw us a couple bucks at patreon.com/randomenation. Because this is our first podcast, and we're going to go around the chat and introduce ourselves and give you a little background. So, my name is Austin Smith, like I said. You can find me at Austin M. Smith 1 on Twitter. And my whole thing was, so after high school, I went to Ivy Tech Community College. It's a small college in Indiana. I think there might be a couple around the country. Went there for 2 years for graphic design and photography. Didn't really like it. Ended up working for a little while, and then I went to Full Sail, which is a college in Florida, for game design. Got my associate's degree there, and now we are starting the podcast. So that's kind of a little bit about my background. We're going to go around the chat here. Let me introduce you to Torrey Blevins, my friend and associate. Torrey, give us a little bit of background. Yes, hello.
How you doing? So there are 4 of us, by the way.
There are.
Yeah, so you're gonna sit here for a little bit. But like,
we'll try to be quick.
I'm still gonna call you Cheats.
That's fine.
Because I don't think I could deviate from that. But I call Austin Cheats. So
Cheats has been my nickname for a while. So
he's a man of many names.
Yes, he is a few.
I have way too many fucking names.
My name is Torrey Blevins. You can find me on Twitter at Blue Biology, BLUBIOLOGY. That's my Twitter handle because I have a bachelor's in biology, and I'm currently a graduate student trying to get my master's in biology. But in my free time, I do all the nerd stuff, Dragon Ball or D&D, Dragon Ball. D&D. Yeah, I've never seen Dragon Ball, so I've seen the abridged, but I've never seen Dragon Ball. Anywho, I'm a huge weeb apparently.
That's a way to say it.
Yeah, so I guess I'm the weeb group, even though Cheats reads more, I think.
I probably do, yeah, but I'm not as in the culture for that stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just here for colored commentary.
That's an interesting way to put it.
I'm not really here for any insight.
All right, and just going to the next person. Tyler, why don't you introduce yourself? Tyler Myers, everybody.
All right, my name is Tyler Myers. First of all, I got to throw my last name in there. But
because this is how we're doing it.
All right, fine. All right, my name is Tyler. I also am from Indiana.
What can we find you on Twitter?
I have not made my Twitter yet.
You have not made your Twitter yet. You had several jobs, and you failed all of them.
On my Instagram, though.
Oh, okay.
My handle is Fryler Friars. It's FRYLER
The best cover.
There's a backstory to that nickname. It's fine.
We'll never know.
Is it because it rhymes with Tyler Myers, maybe?
No.
Okay.
That's not it at all. That's a part of it, though.
So, what did you do after high school, Tyler?
I was prior military. But I was a mechanic for 6 years. And now I'm studying architecture.
Damn straight.
So, I'll have you know, my COD KD is well over 1.1. So, try me, 1v1, quick scope, no scope, on Rust. It's in Modern Warfare.
That doesn't help the death streak, though, Tyler. The whole podcast idea is for bad gaming, not good.
I didn't claim to be good at quick scoping.
I've seen you play Apex, so I don't know how good your first
open-ended sentence.
Skills.
I've seen you play Apex.
I was continuing.
Yikes!
So everyone put a big question mark on his. I think he paid someone to increase that KD.
Look, it's a thing, all right.
I think it's.
Maybe my whole tax check went to paying someone for a good KD.
Maybe if we end up doing a Twitch channel, which is probably going to be the case, we can see those gaming skills in motion. All right.
There are none.
And rounding out our
Josh
party.
would be the best. Josh and Tyler.
Hey!
I'm sorry.
We don't know who that is. Rounding out our party our fourth member of our group, Josh White, everybody. Josh, why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, hello there, everybody. I'm Josh White, and my Twitter handle, currently, I just made this today, is at Grande Tsunami. It's a Grande_Tsunami. I am not a college graduate like everybody else or in college. I have gone to a high school from New Haven. I am also in the National Guard currently, and probably still going to be for a little while, and I am an air traffic controller currently.
That's because you're a sexy son of a bitch.
I don't know what that means, but thank you.
You're in the National
So what
Guard.
brings us all together?
I would say...
I like
what's
to
the tying factor?
Whatever, and hang out, dog.
Yeah, dude. So the whole idea with this podcast is I've always wanted to do something entertainment-wise, and I wanted an outlet, and it's harder to do stuff alone. So these guys have been my friends for a very long time,
Take this.
and that is why we are doing a podcast, and probably several podcasts, and we have a bunch of different stuff that's going to be rolling out after this one, but this is just our first crack at it. So this is a gaming podcast called the Death Streak Podcast. And
See that if you clicked on that.
yeah,
Probably
you probably
like-
saw it in the description. helpful as the description is. But the
title,
TLDR is we're going to do a bunch of random bullshit about games. And this is a gaming podcast. So welcome.
Yes, welcome everybody. The Death Streak.
So
I'm going to forget the name of this multiple times, so
Yeah,
you're probably going to have to...
So for some background, we spent about an hour and a half trying to name this shit. And I don't know if you know this, but everybody has a fucking podcast, and they're all really conveniently hard to figure out a name that will not be taken. So the Death Streak is the best we got.
I don't know. I think it's pretty good.
I like it. I mean, we voted on it. We had a
surprised
tournament. We had a little mini tournament on different names. And if anybody has a better idea, you can put that in the comments, and we probably won't use it. So
I'm actually surprised Death Streak was not taken, because once someone made a joke like, let's use Kill Streak, and I'm like, yeah, that's probably already taken.
Kill Streak was definitely taken. And then I said Death Streak, and it was not taken.
And you go in the opposite direction.
Yes.
So I was like, that's probably already taken too, because someone had
You would
that
assume.
idea. Yeah.
You would think.
If I could,
That you wouldn't expect to be taken.
Yes, Josh, if you could.
I would like to see for our lovely viewers if they would like to almost pull it off like we did to see whether they liked other names better.
This is cool.
I mean, I suppose we can throw that under the bus, but I did delete the rest of them. So,
I have them written down. It's okay.
I'm pretty sure I know them as well. So, between the four that we were looking at before, we had Wallhacks Nation to go with our Random Entertainment Nation, which I enjoyed, but is a little too long and does not roll off the tongue well. We had Wooden Shield, which is pretty good. That was my other favorite. And then we had Rusted Dagger.
That's bias.
So
You're allowed to say if you
all.
like it or not. You're allowed to chip in.
Yeah. What did you think? What did you think should have won?
Well,
it doesn't matter because you lost.
No, after Torrey persuaded me, I think the Death Streak. I think he's right. I think Death Streak sounds really good after rolling up. The only thing I really care about is I want to see what other people think.
Yeah, no.
Obviously, this thing's sticking.
I like polls. I like doing that.
Yeah, I think it's just fun. It's like a fun thing to do.
Yeah. So
I hate people will like. I've never thought about this before, but you have to actually like answer a poll like on Twitter to see the answers, right? And
yes.
for the first
Yes,
time
you do.
ever, I actually saw someone include an option that says, "I just want to see the answers." And
That's
I thought
funny.
that was a fantastic idea.
I've seen that on YouTube a lot too, and
Really?
on Reddit. Yeah, on Reddit as well.
I have not been on Reddit in a hot
On
minute.
many moons.
Yeah.
Well, that's not about gaming, so I don't want to go too deep into the dive on Reddit.
Yeah, we can do that
Reddit
on another
is everything.
podcast. I think we're gonna do a broader one. But
in
anyway,
general?
yeah, like a in general one.
Like a chit chat.
Tyler, why
Just-
don't you tell us what's the game you're playing right now, buddy?
Is he still
I
playing?
actually got off. I'm playing the
Oh.
home game.
Oh.
I'm actually, as we speak, doing a little bit of digging on the PS5 because apparently a bunch of the reviews came in for the PS5 and those.
Oh shit! What's it looking like? That can be our first next gen consoles. What we think about them. That's my first topic that I would like to bring up.
I'm just more curious about the PS5 because I'm probably gonna wind up getting that because I had the PS4.
Yeah,
I just want to play
this doesn't
Demon
have
Souls.
to be in depth. I just think it's interesting.
I don't
think
keep
Demon Souls
track.
is really fun.
All of the articles I'm seeing about the PS5 is literally nothing but great things.
That's good.
From people who have the early access to the consoles and all that, like it's doing really good so far.
Okay.
So why is it? I'm just curious because I don't keep tabs on the consoles because I don't really care.
Yes, for
Why have I been
for
hearing-
reference, we all have pretty powerful PCs, like pretty top of the line. So.
Also, Nintendo.
My PC is pretty like middle tier.
Nah, yours is higher up there for sure.
You think so? Because like we never were able to get that RAM to work at full potential.
It's fine.
Okay.
But anyway,
I'm looking at
Nintendo.
semantics. Anyway, continue, Torrey.
But I have not seen anything about the new Xbox at all. I've only been seeing stuff about the PS5. Is it just like not good or what?
The
Or is it
whole
just not
thing with
enough?
that is they were kind of having a like who's gonna show whose dick first type of thing. Because they didn't want to get like, oh, ours is gonna be like $500, and then the next person to come up and be like,
Oh,
well,
you
$450.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Wait, I just is that the brick, the Xbox?
The
This big,
Xbox is
massive-
the fridge, and the PS5 is the Wi-Fi router.
Gotcha.
And from what I saw from the specs, the Xbox is a little bit better in pretty much every category, but I think it's more expensive.
Have you guys actually seen the Xbox fridge? Like they actually
Yes,
turned it into a
they
fridge?
did the meme and made a Xbox fridge for Xbox, and I think that is pretty fucking awesome.
Like
Actually,
it actually cool.
No, they actually-
they made a
Yeah.
legit like full size
here.
fucking fridge.
No, I'll send it
Does
to
it
you.
have a smart screen?
No, I think it's
no,
just
it's not.
it's like modeled after their console.
Unacceptable. Is
So-
it like a mini fridge?
Yeah.
No,
No,
it's
it's a
It's a
full size
full-size-
fridge.
I'll
Can't
It's
lie.
like a fucking 32 cubic foot fridge.
send it to you here.
I'm looking up images of the Xbox and I hate it.
It's literally just a tower. It's a box.
Yeah, it's
You lay
just
sideways?
they're getting
You look
closer
like
to
Howard.
PCs.
Supposed to be sideways or not?
One could say it's the Xbox.
Wow. It's a rectangle.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not an X.
So, Tyler, since I said the specs are better on the Xbox, why are you leaning toward the PS5?
They just have better exclusives coming out. Honestly,
That's fair.
it's the same reason I went with the PS4 than instead of the Xbox One. They
Yeah.
have better exclusives.
Yeah, no, I'm not mad about that answer. I feel like that's a pretty fucking fair answer.
Like
So,
PS5 had Bloodborne coming out. It had, I mean, like there's a bunch of exclusives that I never really got to play. I guess I never got around to playing it.
are you
like-
concerned that the Elder Scrolls games aren't going to come out for the PS5?
Are you saying that because
Xbox bought them?
Bethesda?
Yeah.
Oh, they bought Bethesda.
Yep.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I mean,
I mean, you
if
could probably
Xbox
play it on
owns them, it's
PC.
gonna come
but-
out on- well, like if
Are they gonna come out with a new
Xbox
Elder
bought
Scrolls?
Bethesda, it's probably gonna come out on PC
Yeah.
Hmm.
because
Well, it was before, because, I mean, why would they
Yeah.
not release that one, but they released all the other ones? So,
Well, also, I mean, like Xbox is under Microsoft.
yeah,
I
well,
would-
I mean, yeah. It might come out on the Microsoft Store, but it's more likely to come out on... Because Epic's not going to be... Epic usually buys out, like, smaller companies, but they're not going to be able to just pay off Microsoft, so they're probably going to be coming out for all the platforms on PC, I imagine.
Yeah.
I don't even think they're going to take it off PS5, but I think it is an option.
Well, plus there's also the fact that literally the Xbox Store is on PC now.
How did they get that to work?
How does that work?
That was
Like,
always
they-
on there.
Like
They just paid
we
for
can
the-
literally buy Xbox games. Like I can buy Forza right now on my computer.
Yeah, if you go to the Windows Store, a lot of the games that you can buy on the Windows Store will transfer to the Xbox One.
Mhm.
So,
And vice versa.
yeah.
Like you can open up Xbox on your computer and it'll like have you sign into a gamer tag and it has like the Game Pass social store where you can buy just about any game that's on Xbox. Crackdown 3 for whatever reason is like the top on the list right now. I don't know why. But 'Cause I'm pretty sure Crackdown 3 was a flop.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
80% off.
I really like Crackdown 2 as a series.
I've never played any of the Crackdowns, and I've never played any of the what's that meme game that's like a lot like Crackdown but more serious? The one that destroys computers.
Oh God.
One that destroys computers.
Crisis.
I'm not sure. Crisis?
That's not
Pretty sure.
Crackdown like at all.
It looks like Crackdown.
What are you talking about?
The art looks similar.
Maybe I'm looking at or maybe I'm thinking of the wrong game.
You're talking about Crisis, the one that's supposed to be like super graphic intensive?
Yeah.
Crisis 3.
Crisis
right?
3, yeah.
That
It looks like
not
Crackdown.
Dude, no, it's not.
It looks like Crackdown.
Crackdown is like
From a cover art standpoint, that looks like the same game to me.
From the very surface, like
Yeah, exactly.
peaks-
I've never played both the
No.
games. I've never seen gameplay for either of them.
Crackdown's very like comic booky styled.
Would you say
It looks
Saints
like,
Row-esque?
I could almost say Saints Row E for Crackdown, yeah.
Saints Row is obviously a little bit sillier, but
Saints Row is just like over the friggin' top, dude.
yeah, well, I mean, that's the whole point of
It's the appeal.
that type of game, yeah.
But no,
I
yeah,
agree with
like,
Josh.
going back to
Hold
the
on, okay.
PS5, like,
Yeah.
the huge thing that I'm hyped up is the controller because they have like I'm not sure how much you know about the controllers and all that.
I have no idea. Not a clue.
One, they redesigned it like it's not the classic PlayStation controller shape anymore. It's more closer to the Xbox One controller shape. But here's the cool part: they the triggers that are on it,
Yeah.
they have haptic feedback, so like they're adaptive, which means depending on what you're doing in different games, the triggers have a like a resistance to them. So like let's just say, for example, you're playing Call of Duty and your trigger is to shoot. The amount that you'd have to push on that trigger to fire your gun could be different from the R2 button for like an RPG where it's like super light.
Oh,
You just like tap it and
that's
it goes
fucking
in.
awesome.
What if you have variable trigger pull speed? Then
Yeah,
what?
like variable resistances in the triggers.
That's pretty cool. Do they also offer bump stocks for the rifles?
You'd only need that for semi-auto rifles, though.
That's
I
the
know.
Pro controller where it has like
The
double
Pro
triggers on
controller's got the bump stock option. Okay,
It's like a reactive trigger. It's like a dual trigger on the
yeah,
controller.
man.
Why would you? You know what I don't like about the controller, and this is my complaint about every PlayStation controller ever. Is where
DualShock controllers, Josh.
Whatever. Is the where they put the joysticks? I don't like.
Why?
I don't like how.
I don't like the layout
how-
for the DualShocks either. I'm gonna be real
I don't
honest
like
with
the
you.
bottom centric joystick layout. I
Why?
really like
You
the
like
Xbox
the- you
controller
like
where
the
you have like
skewed-
one up and then one down. It just feels better. It feels way better in your
I
hand.
like PS4 controller.
I think
I
they both rest
DualShock.
well. I think the DualShock's a little bit wide for me. And they also feel cheaper than the Xbox. A little bit more tactile. It feels
Well, 'cause
heavier.
they're smaller. Like the Xbox One controller is a fucking brick.
Yeah, but it feels heavier in your hand.
I feel like
Because
I
it's a
break a PlayStation
Yeah.
controller like in half.
I like bricks
Why do you want a heavy controller?
because I can throw them at people.
It feels more. It also feels more stable, right? I don't know. I think it feels more stable.
If I get angry and I want to break the TV, I don't want to throw a paperweight at it. I want to throw a
Have you
fucking
ever
brick.
thrown- Have you ever like?
Absolutely
any of your
not. I'm
control-
not a fucking rage monster.
Also, the UI.
Do you think Tia's
apparently-
ever broken a controller by throwing it?
She has.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Like without a doubt, guarantee Tia has.
You think so?
For reference, Tia's
I
my
don't
girlfriend / Tori's twin sister.
I know.
You know?
He was like,
Seen
you
it
don't
happen.
have to remind
Not
me.
for reference for you, Tori. For reference
No,
for
I'm talking
the
about throwing
listeners.
controllers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Growing
But
up.
does hey Austin, does Tori look more like Tia or does Tia look more like Tori?
Neither. What does that even like? They can't.
I don't know how to...
Tori on accident.
It's
As
the same thing.
as a
Are
twin
you
lover,
the-
I don't care about either one.
Twin lover.
Yes,
Take that back.
I enjoy the
So-
twins.
If
Wait,
I'm getting off topic. I'm sorry.
I don't think it matters.
I'm sorry. I'm just being dumb.
That's
Yeah,
not game
apparently,
related.
The user interface is also really nice.
Is it though?
But how do you know?
Is
I
it
don't
though?
Have you seen
like-
screenshots of it or something?
I don't.
Yeah, like there's video footage out there of the UI for the PS5,
they
and it
really
looks pretty
It does
pretty
that.
clean.
Does the PS5 controller actually have like a screen in the middle of it? Is that-
I feel like they
No, it's like they redid the touchpad.
looks like Switch wins, huh?
They probably got rid of it, I imagine.
I guess.
Did they get rid of the touchpad?
Like, it looks almost like they just turned it into a button, but this time with the lights that was on the PS4 controller,
Yeah.
it wraps around the light bar
Oh, that's
instead
cool.
of
I never
instead
really
of
liked
being in
the
front of the controller. Like the light bar is wrapped around the touchpad.
Is the controller still $60, or is it like? way
I'm
more?
sure it's more than that.
Probably going to be $60.
Do they keep raising the controller prices?
They're 80. Wait, no, they're 70
mean,
now
games are
for the
$70
regular
now.
controller
they're
for the
70?
PS4 right now. It's
Like normal 70?
Yeah,
That's
it's like
how out of touch I am.
$69.99.
That's how out of touch I am with actual like PS4 or Xbox. Like
Well, plus the next gen console games are all going to be $70. It's already started.
Yeah.
awful.
I want to say it was like Madden and 2K were the first two games to raise their prices to $70. Call of Duty's up next.
The discs
So
are going
what's
to be
the
too
reason
big.
for
They
doing
have
that?
to get ultra
It's not like they
ultra
changed
Blu-ray.
what-
The games, just imagine every game is Call of Duty. See the new, you know how big the new Call of Duty is? Regular Blu-ray discs do not fit Call of Duty. So they have to make ultra HD Blu-ray discs, which hold more data, which costs more money.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so it adds $10.
I mean, like, do you think disc capacity limits are going to be like
They need
another
to.
factor that pushes the whole digital gaming
I was
market?
gonna say the whole reason that they're switching to digital games is specifically that we're getting to a point where optical doesn't make any more sense. So they're gonna start. Honestly, I'm surprised they haven't switched to cartridges like Switch, because our like SD technology has crazily risen. Because I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, but in high school, it was like $20 for a 4 gig flash drive. You can get a 64 gig flash drive right now for like $5.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
It's like 20. It's like
Literally,
20.
like,
It's not that much.
It's like 20, 25,
a
30.
USB drive on Amazon.
My
Hold on.
32 was like 15.
Look up a USB drive, a 64 gig USB drive right now.
Amazon.
All right, I'm doing it, Chief.
It's pretty cheap. It may not be
way.
5. I might be exaggerating, but it's not expensive.
All right, I see one at Best Buy for $7.99, but it looks.
All right, there you go.
I'm not. I don't think that's the norm. That's definitely
I
not.
was that looks pretty fucking dang.
Well, when I see it's
A
45.
128 gigabyte USB 3.0 flash drive.
What's up?
$12 on Amazon.
Exactly.
I see silver 10. That's pretty.
I lied. My $40 one is a terabyte.
Yeah. Fuck you. Anyway, so what I'm saying is optical drive is getting it's just getting replaced. It
We
doesn't make
gotta
any
have
sense
discs
anymore.
so they can scratch and they have to buy.
Yeah,
the game
exactly.
again.
So that's why they're more expensive. It makes a
You
lot
still-
more sense to just switch to digital, even though it sucks because, you know, it feels a lot better to be able to, you know, like trade in the physical game when you're done with it.
But there's also the issue of like you're not actually owning the game; you're just buying like the license to
You
play the
say
game.
that, but like your Steam library doesn't expire. That's all I'm saying.
Well, but like, what happens if some crazy thing were to happen? I mean, this is like
If
really,
some
like,
crazy
awful.
thing
that's where
happens,
they-
I think the
that's where you-
Steam library is the last thing you need to worry about.
That's where they buff up their like help center. So
Yeah.
like, they can actually get.
You say that, but I literally got my PlayStation account stolen from me.
Well, you fucked up.
That's they need to
It
buff.
literally happened overnight.
What'd you do?
I was literally on my account watching Netflix one night, and then I woke up the next morning, and all of a sudden I couldn't sign into PlayStation Online, right? And then I checked my email, and I had a bunch of emails saying like, "Hey, there's a there was one that was like, hey, there's a weird login from this location," and then it was like, "Hey,
You're watching. You're watching something from across the country.
Well, like there was one, it was like your password reset. Like here's your email to change your password, and then there was another email that was like confirmation of password reset, and then it was like another like email saying that my email was changed. So literally my entire login got changed.
Rip.
You changed
And
your
I
email.
contacted
password, right?
Sony, and I was like, look, my account got stolen from someone in Hungary or some country in Europe somewhere. And literally, I couldn't get my account back because I didn't have the serial number of the PSP I made my account on 10 years ago. I was like,
on a
Oh,
PSP.
no.
I made the account on a PSP. Like, God knows how long back that was, and they were like, we need the serial number of the product who made the thing
I
on.
can't believe
like,
that's real.
I
I
was
can't
like,
believe that's the thing you needed.
What kind of policy is that where you need the
That's
product?
the item that you put it on.
Dude, I had to have so
I
much
know,
information
but
to get my account back. I had to have the debit card on the account, which I had. I had
That
to have the
makes sense.
address,
Yeah.
the city, and the state that I made the account in.
That makes sense too. It's just the code for the piece of
PSP,
equipment you
yeah,
use to type in the information.
Like, I had
That's
to
ridiculous.
have so much stuff, and I had everything except the serial number for, like, the PSP, and they wouldn't give it to me. I was
That's
like,
your lesson, right? Keep your PSPs at all times around you.
Or get a better
Forever.
password.
I have forsaken the PSP, and now it bit me in the butt.
Never that's your problem. Like that's the PSP gods coming to. That's instant karma. You threw away your PSP, you get
You
thrown
would
away.
think, like, their policy would be like, hey, once you have like 3 of this affirmative information, like, all right, it's
I'm
probably
sure they updated it. I think his is just a special case.
No, I
What-
think
what-
I've heard a lot of bad things about PlayStation's internal network. Like they were having a lot of trouble with it, and that's the whole reason why there was a whole like controversy that you couldn't change your name and stuff. Like it would fuck your games up. Just because they built it like really fucky. So
Sorry.
Back in
why?
the PS3 days, then like you could change your username.
well, they're
willy-nilly
probably just
whenever you
gonna.
wanted for free.
I was gonna say they're probably going to just restructure the internal network completely for this new thing. So I hope the UI is a lot better.
That's kind of what I was alluding to before we
I really
heard
don't
the
like
woes of Tyler.
Yeah.
I really don't. I mean, like, I'm not.
If they spend a little bit of money buffing up their security and their help, like their help center and all that stuff,
Well, that was the issue, but it was like the entire system was fucked. So they would have had to like basically have everybody ship their PS4s in to get it reset. So it just
Yeah.
wasn't going to happen.
I mean, like we all remember back in the day when Sony got hacked and everybody lost their debit card information. Like,
Yeah, that happened, and then I'm pretty sure right when the Xbox One released, I'm pretty sure they got hacked for like 2 weeks too, so their online services were fucked. So
Wasn't that
This-
like a DDoS attack or something?
yeah, there was a DDoS attack. It was like I forget something lizard. I forget what the I know. It's the team name was something lizard. So
Sticky Tongue Wizard.
yeah.
Sticky Duck.
Sticky Duck is not dead, but is he
Oh,
living?
really?
I don't know.
Duck's been dead for
Schrodinger
years.
Sticky Duck.
Dude, I remember, like a while, like I was so sad when my account got stolen.
Is he
Yeah,
dead
no
or is he
shit.
still alive?
Well, like more so for the fact, okay, not because I
Did
couldn't
you
play
lose
my
all
games
your
anymore,
platinums?
Because like my PlayStation, like it's so old. It's the old Destiny 1 PlayStation.
Yeah.
So it can barely run games. Like
We have
it
the
can't
same
run,
one.
Like it can't run Fallout. Like Fallout 4, don't even try. It's not
Gotcha.
gonna run it.
Won't buy it.
And like I had just bought Madden 20. I had it for like maybe a month.
Okay.
Like that was the one game I liked playing on my PlayStation because they could run it, and it was fine. And I hadn't bought a Madden game in like 8 years. I was like, you know what?
Game.
I want to buy Madden. And then I bought it, and then a month later, I lost it. I was like, you know what?
Oof.
Never buying a Madden game ever again.
Fuck Madden. All my
Traumatized.
homies hate Madden.
Don't you know the John Madden curse? Isn't
Yeah,
that
man.
what that is? That's basically
Yeah,
what
where they
that
put the player on the yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, don't play the game, Tyler. Come on.
I wanted so bad to
How
buy
is that
Madden
connected?
21, and then Madden 21 was the worst game ever.
It's
like-
not connected at all.
Worst game of
Oh,
all
it
time.
is
Oh,
because you said so.
Like, what is the reviews on Metacritic still like? Like, is it still a 0.1 on?
I'm sure it's probably bad. I've only ever
21.
played 2010.
Have you seen those YouTube videos where people decide to play games that are like ranked negative 30 or something?
Oh,
oh,
absolutely.
like the worst
I
rated on
forget.
Steam.
I was
Like
gonna
on
say I
Steam,
forget.
it's like 1,000 thumbs down and like a single thumbs up from someone who developed it or something.
Oof.
They're the funniest games you'll ever see.
Well, there's a couple that like. There's this one. I forget what the dirt. It's like a dirt truck driving thing, but then like you like 3 seconds into driving, you like fall through
You're
the
like-
fucking
I
floor.
was gonna you like glitch into the sky.
Oh, it's
forever.
it's so bad. And they released this game on disc, and it
Oh
fucking
my God.
bombed.
Why did they throw their
Like,
money
how do
away?
you ship that out?
You do. You just send it.
Yes, but how?
Oh man,
Wow.
Madden I guess got a little bit better. It's at a 0.2 now on Metacritic.
On
for the
Metacritic,
user
it's
score.
a 0.2.
Stay away.
Out of 10 or 5?
out of 10. So
That's-
Oh my God.
like the professional critics
Oh
have their
my
own
God.
score, and they
I
gave it
didn't
a
think-
63. But the
didn't-
users who actually buy the game they gave it a 0.2 out of 10.
63 is probably fair.
It was at a 0.1 for a while, and it was funny because they were roasting the dude in charge of Madden that works at EA,
right,
for putting out such a bad game, because it was at like a 0.2 or a 0.3 at one point, and his response to his response to like people roasting him for putting out such a bad game, he was like, well, it could always be worse. It could always be a 0.1, and then the review bombs just continue.
Get fucked. Ask and you
was
shall receive.
Which Madden was it?
It was this Madden. Like this year's Madden.
Oh, 2020?
Yeah. No, Madden 21.
Oh, shit.
Shit, dude. It's mostly negative on Steam. Well,
God damn. That sucks.
Is it on Steam?
It's on
Weren't
Steam,
you? Wasn't that the one you were super excited for?
I was, and then it came out and it was an absolute flop. It did so bad. It was so glitchy.
So did you
like if you look at glitches from like people playing the game, like those glitches where people will hike the ball while like they're playing on offense, they'll hike the ball. All the receivers that are supposed to go forward will literally turn around and run backwards.
That's out, man. You gotta wait. They can't defend what's unexpected.
Advanced tactics.
Isn't that how you play the game?
And then there's ones where like the ball just freezes in the air, but the players keep moving around.
I feel so bad for those devs because they make them turn around and do a new game every fucking year, and it's the same for all of those type of like sports games. And that's why there's only like there's very limited changes between the years, and they have like such a fucking strict design schedule. It's not good.
But the thing is, 2K does the same thing, but their games aren't buggy. Like,
yeah, well, they probably have a better. I imagine they have multiple teams working on it. They probably just have a small team at EA or wherever.
I kind of feel the same way about Call of Duty. Like,
they figure they're gonna make money, and Assassin's Creed.
Honestly. I hated this Call of Duty, but I definitely cannot say it was bad.
Well, the Call of Duty games aren't super buggy though. Like that's the thing. Like
no, they have. You know how many fucking people they have working on the Call of Duty dev team?
Call of Duty.
It's crazy.
Wait,
probably a ton.
It's like 2,000 or 3,000 people. Like that's a lot of people.
Well, like each person is in charge of like each gun.
Yeah, no, not even that. It's like you get to do the fucking gun muzzle for this one. Like
it's blade of grass.
Yeah,
that's. Congratulations.
They have like massive teams on every fucking aspect of that game. So it makes sense why they can go so like fast.
It also explains why it takes so much freaking memory to download just Warzone.
It's super not optimized.
They separate it out.
Yeah, they came out with a patch. Like if you want to like split the game, like if you want to uninstall the campaign in Spec Ops, which I did immediately when I found out.
Oh, you can do that?
Yeah,
I need to do that.
Like it shaves off like 80 gigs of the download space.
Yeah, no shit.
No way.
That's like that's probably half the assets, to be real honest. Yeah. I'm gonna guarantee that the campaign had most of the assets on there. So
probably
you get that off, then it's gonna be most of them. And it's probably not super well optimized, so they get that shit out fast. But I mean, sometimes it's you need the quality assurance.
From what I remember, the campaign of Modern Warfare looked amazing. Like the cutscenes, the graphics, like it looked good.
This is actually a perfect segue, and I want to bring up my second topic. When is it a good idea to push a game back? Kind of going in tow with what's going on with Cyberpunk. When is it a good idea, and when it is a bad idea for the fans?
If there's a pandemic going on, I think that's a great time to push back your games.
I mean, it really depends on what kind of quality product you want to put out. Like if you're okay with putting out a horrible product like they were trying to do with Halo, like, by all means, go ahead, but be prepared for the storm that is going to come out when you release a bad product like that.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. In my opinion,
Sorry.
No, you're good. In my opinion, I think that you need to take the marketing hit. And you need to take all the like shit talking because at the end of the day, you don't want to like put out a pile of crap that you can just update later because that just gives a bad taste in the mouth of the game, and it like destroys the first like year or so. People wait until it goes on sale after that.
I agree with that. I was gonna say how the worst that can happen in waiting and like pushing it back is people like because if you go on Twitter or something, you'll see people try to boycott games. If
there's a
they're
lot
not-
of shit talk. There was a couple news stories today, to go off what you were saying, of people doing death threats to the devs for Cyberpunk.
for pushing
Yeah.
it back.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a little that's
Like-
way excessive.
Sending
I know.
Twitter stuff, like DMing the devs and being like,
That's
I will
just
kill
gamer
your
bros.
family if you push it back one more time, and
I
shit like
feel
that.
like there's always going to be someone in some community that's going to be like, if anything happens, boom, death threat.
It's
Boom,
so-
death
It's
threat.
not.
It's like it's not.
It's not acceptable
No,
at
it's
all.
not,
But it's
absolutely.
like it's the norm nowadays.
It's like the what is it, the animosity or whatever the anonymous factor of being online, right?
Yes.
Just
exactly.
fucking you just send it and
There's
you
no
don't give a crap.
repercussion.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
feel like
there's no
they're 30
repercussions.
feet tall because I
Yeah.
mean, you're not going to
Like,
get
oh,
it. Yeah,
give me
you
the
just
game.
talk as much shit as you can.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I sit in my house forever, and I work at I'm not a game developer.
It's hard work.
But I know how to do your job.
Yeah.
And you guys should have had this game released
Oh man.
like 2 years ago.
It's like the backseat gaming, right? Just want
Yeah.
to tell the developers how to do their job.
And honestly, those people will probably just buy the game anyway.
Oh,
No,
they
they
will.
definitely will,
They
absolutely.
absolutely will. They have
So
no
I was-
fucking
I was like,
willpower.
how do you as a consumer, how do you punish a company that is negligent?
Well, and that's
Like
the whole
they push back
idea.
their games to where they're negligent. Because there are companies that push back because it's like there's an error in this, like something happened along the way.
Yeah.
When that's not really their fault. But
To be
how do
fair,
you
the
how do
only
you
time
punish a company that it's their fault, like completely? So
Hey,
it's delayed.
Does CD Projekt Red are they their own publisher or do they go publish from somebody else?
I think they are published by a different company. I'm not sure who they're published by, but
I mean, you also have like all these publishers that are
Let me
obviously
check.
trying to get the product out there extremely quick and as soon as they can.
that's the
Um,
idea. But I think with CD Projekt, especially with like their Witcher series, the first two games were not anything crazy, but the third Witcher game is like one of the like highest like rated games of all time. It's some people consider it the best game like of all time, and it's very, very polished. And I didn't like the combat, so I didn't get super into it, but I know the lore is crazy and you get like a shitload of hours in the game, and it's just like a beautiful fucking game in general. So
I'm pretty sure
that
it's
type
like
of
500
dev,
hours of the game or something like that.
that type of dev, it's the same thing with like Rockstar. They want to put the most quality product out possible because they are like the perfectionist studio.
It's funny.
Yeah, well, the online's a little different, Josh, but you can't say that their fucking campaign modes aren't good.
No, yeah, you're right. Especially for like I would say Red Dead Redemption. Really,
Yeah,
is
I mean,
the
Red
key-
Dead 2
key
came
single
out.
player games right here.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. So,
I don't know, but how do you? I guess I would personally, for me, I would rather play a polished game where you won't have immersion breaking bugs like every hour or so. Because I know I would play for like hours on end, and it ruins the experience for me if I sitting down and a goofy thing happens. I'm like, oh, cool, that's and then it just keeps happening every other hour, and it gets kind of annoying.
That's
I'd
honestly
rather have
one
it
of the
fixed.
reasons-
CD Projekt does publish their own games, by the way.
Oh, they do. Okay, so that's good. So they can work on their own hours
Yeah.
and time. Then so that's really good for them. A lot of game companies, though, obviously don't have that luxury, and they're set by time constraints with their publishers. As
No,
well, I
and
feel
that's
like.
true. And that's the whole thing with, I forget what the fucking term is. It's eluding me.
Crunch.
Yeah, crunch. Crunch
Mm.
time is a thing in the industry, and I have no problem with it. They told us about it while we were in school. They gave us like ideas of what we would go through. It's really not that bad. I worked way worse hours at fucking FedEx when I was delivering packages than crunch time would be, and you get overtime, so it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's nothing terrible.
But
I like
feel
slave
like
labor.
I feel like it's almost when you say that I've worked way more hours than at FedEx and gaming. I feel like you're comparing two different beasts.
You are, because when I was working on games in school, it's obviously a lot more mentally taxing than physically taxing.
Yeah.
And a lot of those guys, like, they have like cots and shit, and they'll stay the night at the thing, and they'll get like 2 hours of sleep for like 3 weeks straight. So
Jesus.
I would do probably.
I
if
get
was
it.
in that year I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
I cannot do work at like my game desk area. I have to be somewhere else. Because if I can do like an hour of work at max, and it's still like super low productivity work. Because I'm like, man, I could be playing a game right now.
That's why, like, I straight up cannot do my studio stuff for architecture at home. I can't do it. Like, I have to go to the studio and do it. Because if I do it at home, it's a million distractions.
Yeah,
like,
but you got to say, like, that type of thing. When you get in the zone and you're, like, in a space where it's just, like, you're feeling it, like, your neurons are firing and everything's connected and you feel like you're actually, like, fucking doing some work, like, you get some shit done.
It's real big brain talk right here.
It is big brain talk.
We got big wrinkly brains.
Is that correct, Torrey? Am I correct in the neurons firing thing?
1,000% correct.
All right, you're the biologist. I'm not the expert here.
I think you might want to be talking to a neurologist.
I think you're talking about the neuron splooge.
Oh, okay.
Neuron.
Is that the
No?
is that the scientific term?
Scientific term, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I've published several articles.
I think we found our first T-shirt, is what I'm thinking. The neuron splooge.
Oh, the neuron splooge.
It's just like your brain just like exploding in a useless blob of energy.
By the way, once this episode eventually goes up, I'm not sure when it's going to go up, but we're going to launch the Patreon at the same time, and there's a tier for T-shirts. If you are on the T-shirt tier, you get a T-shirt 4 times a year. So we are going to be coming up with the custom T-shirts probably based off of what goes on in the episodes and what we meme. So if you find a highlight funny, meme it in the comments, and we'll figure that stuff out.
A T-shirt 4 times a year is kind of a lot. Are we going to be that funny 4 times?
I think so. I think
don't
we can do it. If we get like 5 podcasts going, I think we can at least be funny 4 times a year.
I don't know. I'm gonna make that like I'm gonna keep saying splooge. Like
neuron splooge.
I'm gonna make it.
It's not a new term.
No, splooge is not.
I know it's not.
But is neuron splooge a new term?
I don't know. You want to
I've
Google
never heard of a
neuron
neuron
Hold on, give me
splooge.
1 second.
There's a friend of mine that we used to call splooge. I mean, we still call splooge.
Why?
Why
would you do that? How do you spell splooge?
SPLOOG.
Why do you guys know how to spell splooge?
It's not with a
It's
D.
not
It's
a hard word to spell.
I had a friend that we called splooge, and still to
That's
this day
fair.
called splooge.
My
Like,
bad. I take it back. Josh, why do you know how to spell splooge?
Why, dude? You can sound it out.
Spaloogie?
Yes.
So I thought there was a D. That's why I was confused. I was like,
You thought there was a
splooge?
Like
D?
splodge?
It's silent G.
Not
Yeah,
splodge.
it's silent D.
Spluage?
Yeah, like a kind of silent D.
Oh, I'll tell you what.
It's
with
at
a
the
name like
beginning.
splooge,
It's
I
DSP.
guarantee. Well, see, the problem with splooge is that. Never mind.
What's the problem with splooge, story? Tell me.
What's wrong?
No, yeah.
What's going on with
no.
splooge?
It's usually associated with.
yeah.
Hmm?
Yes.
Hmm?
Ah.
I'll tell you
Yes.
what, Tori, with a name like splooge, the D ain't silent.
Hey, Tori, what do we got to say about splooge, huh?
Cheats figured it out. You can ask him.
You know what they're saying. You know, the
Okay.
neurons are firing, the splooge is firing. We know what we're doing.
We don't know.
We're playing some fucking games.
The cannons be blasting, yo.
So,
Don't say that.
I guess to
Holy
end that
Bible.
topic, do you guys think they should have pushed back Cyberpunk, or do you guys think that they should have released it when they wanted to,
If
I
the
kinda-
developer
and then
feels
just
like,
push some
I kind
updates
of
out?
expected them to push it back.
if the
honestly.
developer feels like they need to push it back, they should push it back. If they think there's some issues with it, hey man, they want to resolve it, they should fix it.
I
They just want to make the experience better.
Especially for something so hype.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say Cyberpunk's been in the works for a long time. It's a passion project for sure, and I think that them pushing it back is the best idea for sure.
Yeah. Because
I
one
mean,
thing they want
not
is the
best, but, like,
idea of, like
situational.
America.
Situationally, it's the best idea. I mean,
Yeah.
realistically, they could have gotten it done 5 years ago, and it could have been the best game of all time.
I mean,
Like,
for all we
at
know,
what point? Sorry, go ahead.
like, what if the whole reason they're putting it back? Because we all know there's new consoles coming out. We all know there's new
That's
technology
That's
capabilities.
not why.
coming out.
That's what I was
Well,
going to touch
the
on. I was
reason
like,
they're putting it back is just because the new systems, the new hardware, the new coding they have to do for the new systems and all that. Like, because we all know that, like, I mean, the audience might not know, but when you make a game for multiple systems, you have to redo some form of the coding. I assume you have to port it
Yeah,
to
it's a
other
pain in the
consoles.
ass.
Like what if they're just taking their time to give a more polished product for the newer consoles that are coming out? Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I know for certain that most of the devs that are coming out with the games that are launching for the games have had those consoles for at least half a year to tool with those, because that's what they do. They send out dev kits so that you can fuck with it. And based off of that, I think that you're probably in that correct vein, that they probably pushed it back so that they could hit the console releases. Because I don't know when they're releasing, but I imagine it's pretty close.
I think it's pretty close. Like, I want to say the
Well, I thought I
PS4
said
comes
something about like 3 days, but I don't know if it's that close.
I'm pretty sure it's sometime in like this month that the PS5 comes out.
Wait, are you talking about the console or?
Yeah,
talking about
the
Cyberpunk?
console, but they're
Okay.
so they pushed
It's
Cyberpunk.
literally the 12th of November it comes out.
Yeah, they pushed Cyberpunk
Next
to
Thursday.
December 7th, I think.
That's not that far away.
Yeah, no, it's only they only pushed it back a month. No, it's December 9th. So yeah,
The
PS5
initial
comes
release
out
date
the
was
12th.
November 19th, so it's not far at all.
Because I know
Like a
some
month.
people who ordered like extra consoles and like charge pads for the PS5, like they already got the accessories. Like they're just waiting for the actual console to come in the mail now.
Nope. So I was wrong. So I think the original Cyberpunk date for this month was November 14th. So that would have hit the PS5 perfectly. So they probably just pushed it back because they weren't done yet.
That's weird because
At what
I
point?
just binged it and
Mine says November 19th.
it says
Son of a
November
bitch!
19th.
Stop using Edge.
Google. I use
Game,
Google.
bro.
I use the normal Google like a normal
Fucking
person.
Hey. Look,
November 19th is what mine says.
mine also says November 19th was the original, is the release date.
I'm not finding a pushback date.
But I also
Okay.
found an article not too long ago as I was scrolling.
The question that I had real quick,
December 10th, the 10th of December?
What's up?
like at what point do you keep pushing back your game to what 5 years ago would have been like a super incredible release with a bunch of new things, but you pushed it back so much that now it's just like, oh, another one of these.
Oh no, that game's gonna be
I know, but like,
crazy.
Well,
Like, have
so
you
like,
seen the pictures and footage of it? It looks.
I haven't seen any gameplay. I've seen like the cutscenes.
I feel like it would
I
be
am going to
different.
be so bold as to say that Cyberpunk 2077, if it releases with the like features and stuff that I think it's going to release with, it's probably going to be one of the best games of this console generation. I think that's pretty easily
So
said.
like with this specific case,
have
with this case
crazy high
specifically, it
expectations
doesn't
to be
matter
Witcher
like
3.
how far.
No, I think that I don't think it would have been possible 5 years ago to release this game just because hardware. It would have been fine on PC, but like barely. It would have been pushing the limits pretty hard.
Like they did it with The Witcher 3, and The
Yeah.
Witcher 3 was cooking consoles.
You had to get like a 1080, which was pretty powerful at the time, for Witcher 3 to work really well for
And
the
that-
PC, and like
when did that
consoles
game
had
come
like
out?
nothing close.
Torrey, I feel like what you're saying it's like it's when it's pushing it back too much, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it would be different if it wasn't like a passion project for like
I would say if this wasn't Cyberpunk, it would be different.
right. But like you can also think about Duke Nukem Forever, right?
Wasn't that bad?
That was
I've never
awful,
played
right?
any Duke Nukem games,
No,
so I have
like,
no
Duke Nukem
knowledge of that.
Forever. Like everybody was like super excited. They've been waiting like 10 years for it, and then like pushing it back. I think there was like legal issues with it or something, and then it finally came out after like 10 years of like hype, and it was like 1 star out of 5 for like
Yeah,
every game company.
Like the graphics weren't even that good. Like the campaign was fun for one time. It was one of those games you play through one time and then you get rid of it. And,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
Resident Evil 6.
Get rid of it.
the Leon campaign in Resident Evil 6 was fun.
Leon campaign was fantastic.
Yeah, it's the best
The
campaign.
rest of that game was trash garbage. It's
Is that the one
unfortunate.
with the-
I
is that the one
think
with the cat?
the Wesker Kid campaign was like decent, but like the Chris Redfield one was just like it was too much firefighty stuff, and it didn't work for Resident Evil. I
It
think.
felt very combat oriented, like
Yeah.
almost Call of Duty, but obviously not because it wasn't first person. But still,
Right.
So which Resident Evil had the giant catfish?
that would be
was Resident
4.
Evil Yeah,
I like 4.
probably
because
one of the best
They're
ones ever.
remaking 4, and I'm so fucking
If they
excited
take
for
out
it.
the giant catfish, I'm not gonna.
They're not gonna.
They're remaking 4 for like the 9th time.
No, they've
no,
only
they
made
remastered
4.
four with
Yeah,
the
I was gonna say
HD,
they
and
remastered it.
kinda look like, it can still kind of look like trash. I mean, they look like rolls.
So what they did was they took the PS2 graphics and they took the like GameCube graphics and they like upsized the textures and then made it a little bit clearer, but they still kept all the textures, so it just looked like a flat fucking board.
It's like Paper Mario.
Yeah,
Like,
they just changed the resolution, but they didn't change the textures at all, so it just looks like extended a little bit.
his face is like pulled a little bit too
Yeah,
far.
it's like Mario 64 when you're fucking with his head.
The polygons.
Yeah.
So, hey, we've talked about video game developers, having hit times or crunch times or whatever.
Yeah.
From publishers. But what about games like, I want to say another passion project, which I think it was probably a passion project that probably again overpromised, and I think you probably know what I'm talking about with No Man's Sky.
See, that's
They
an
just straight up lied,
interesting
didn't
one.
they?
No. So they had a very, very weird situation going on. So with their thing is they had a team of 7 people.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a team of 7 people. They were publishing everything themselves. And then I believe it was Sony came in and decided that this game was the best fucking game of all time. And they overhyped and overpromised the thing because it was a really cool game, but like they
As an
were
indie
not
game.
ready.
Well,
They didn't.
so
And they
I don't
also
really-
said crazy high, like they said all of these features are going to be in it, and then it came out, and then everybody wanted refunds, and Sony had to dish out a ton of money on refunds.
Oh fuck yeah!
That's where I pulled the like
That's
lying
when the
aspect, 'cause
legal
I heard that.
So hey, you say that Sony was the one that was overhyping things, but I've seen an internet documentary, quote unquote, via the Internet Historian, and it is lighthearted and very meme oriented, but it was a lot of like the lead developer of the game who was like, anytime he'd go to like an interview, he would start talking about it, like, hey, we have these features and such, and maybe Sony, the publisher, was working with them, and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have these things,
Yeah.
and then they decided they needed more time, but it's like we're at this stage now, like today, where they're finally inputting all of those features. If they do you think that maybe they had talked to Sony and said, you know what, we're gonna be ready by this date, and they kind of like they fudged it a little bit.
So let me give you a scenario for that because I feel you. Just imagine that you were working on a project and you were nowhere near done, and then your boss overhyped the project to a different company that you were selling it to, and then told you to go give a press conference about it, and then was like, but make sure to let them know about what we already told them.
Stress.
Yeah. You don't want to go against the guy that's funding your shit.
Wait, you don't want to do that?
Yeah. So I'm sure they were put in a weird situation. I'm not saying it's not their fault, but I'm just saying curb
It's
the
like
blame
half
a
their
little bit.
fault.
Yeah.
It's like the one dude half their
And
fault.
like I said, I'm pretty sure they didn't get any extra development people, and they only had a 7-person team. So what they pulled off with that 7-person team is extremely impressive in the time crunch that they got.
Do you think that if they wouldn't have worked with Sony at all, and they just would have stuck with it as their own passion project and just worked through it all of like the next like 3 years to now, that it would have just been a way better deal, or no?
So from what I heard, like what they managed to pull off with that game is like mathematical genius shit. So I think that their team was extremely talented, but I think what would have happened if it wasn't Sony in like pushing them forward on it, it probably would have been in design hell for a little while in like a pre-alpha state type of thing. Maybe they would have gone
GoFundMe or something like that?
Yeah, something like that with Steam and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think that it could have turned into something like, like the survival games like Rust or something like that. It would have turned into one of those where it took forever to get stuff out. So I think this is probably the best course of action. It's just Sony should have probably left a little bit more truth on the table instead of overhyping it.
It just sucks that it happened that way because, I mean, the game released and it only had like less than half the features that they hyped up, and then like today they have even more features than they had promised before, and they as developers they stuck with the game the entire way.
They've been great, but it was mostly really negative for like the longest fucking time.
Didn't they correct themselves though eventually, where they released like another version of the game or something?
I don't think they released another version. They've been adding a lot of patches.
I was going to say they added a bunch of massive patches a couple. I think it was like a year ago.
I remember reviews like drastically increasing, and people are like, "All right, this game's decent now."
Yeah, about a year ago that I think they hit where they promised the game would be at launch, and then by now I think they've added a couple of extra features that have been pretty good. I'm not interested in that game at all, but I've heard a lot of bad things. So.
Yeah.
I think they've added like space hubs now, where like there's giant like space stations that you can land and explore, and now you can actually like meet other people, and you can. It's got like real multiplayer now. And there's like giant space battles that you can do as well.
Yeah,
like different.
It sounds like EVE Online though.
I was gonna say I was more interested in like Elite Dangerous than that. So
it's still got like the aspect of what No Man's Sky was going for, which is traveling to planet, of course. And creating bases, much like Minecraft or Subnautica, I should say. I guess it'd be more like
it'd probably be closer to Subnautica.
Yeah, but it just added a lot more features that were either meant to be there or just other things people wanted. And I think that's awesome. And I still want to give it a shot, but I know that none of you guys want to. So
yeah, unfortunately, sorry.
It's okay. I just think that what they did was very interesting and cool that they brought it back for the brink, essentially.
Yeah, can you not play it by yourself?
I don't want to play it by myself.
Isn't it a single player game? Can you even meet up with people?
Yes, yeah, they added that you can meet up with people and you can actually play with other friends now.
Oh, okay.
Like that's a feature now.
Well, there you go.
I think you can have like 20 people in like your one area or something like that.
Maybe we can do something later on with like streaming and stuff. I'm sure it goes on sale quite a bit. We'll pick up a bunch of games during the Christmas sale, and then we can play some stuff.
Okay.
Grim Dawn doesn't work for me, side note.
Rip Grim Dawn. I'll try to help you out with that.
It's Grim Dawn.
It's a good game. It's like... what's that fucking
It's like
game?
Path of Exile Divinity mixture.
Wait, but aren't we like getting Baldur's Gate?
I already did.
Well...
It's still in alpha.
Yeah, you guys don't have to get it yet. I mean, I'll play it with you. I fucking love that game.
You haven't even played it yet.
Have
you played it?
I did. I have 2 hours in it.
I was a fool.
It's more of a game that I want to play with you guys. So
we never finished on Divinity.
Yeah, we need to play more.
It's true. We should start another one.
It's too late. We already ignored it.
Why do we need to start another one? I just want to finish it. I just want to
finish the one that we had.
Can't just finish one when we wait 18 months.
We have to start.
What are we missing out on? What are we missing out on?
We're missing out on the story, Josh.
It's not like y'all are playing for the story anyways. Y'all just murder and everything.
Well, whatever.
I can't just start at the game we played and you're like, remember the time I did that one stupid thing? And I'm like, no, I don't.
Remember when I started you with explosive oil barrels and then I just accidentally breathed fire?
That's like every fight. Like I can't remember that.
I can't help that I'm a lizard person every time and I just breathe fire.
Look, Josh, we can't all be on a death streak.
Look, I mean, Torrey's on a huge death streak when he's around me.
You killed me!
All right, I think that's enough for this episode.
I'll kill you back.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening to the Random Entertainment Nation's Death Streak podcast. Like I said, my name is Austin Smith. You can follow us at Random E Nation on Twitter. And if you enjoyed this episode, please, if you could, run to Patreon and throw us a couple bucks.
Run, don't walk.
Patreon.com/randomenation. Yes, run, don't walk.
Don't forget to smash that like button.
If we put it on YouTube, smash that like button, hit that fucking bell. You know the drill. And we'll probably be on Spotify or whatever podcast place that you managed to find this podcast on. So thank you for listening, and I hope you guys have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.